Whitepine. I'm sure you've already seen the Minecraft period drama, especially if you're just coming across this video. Now, rather than my normal content where I make theories dissecting things that I like watching, I kinda want to take a deeper look into some of the details of the show and share any hidden ones you may have missed. So here are 50 plus facts you never knew about it. Starting with Whitepine 1, when Ivory first gets into the mansion and is trained by Sir Raptor, when she calls him Sir Raptor, it is actually reflected in the subtitles. Sir Raptor also mentions to Ivory that the lady of the Hemlock house used to play piano.
What's this room used for?
Oh, it's not really used anymore. This used to be where Mrs. Hemlock would play the piano, I think?
Giving more importance to Izzy allowing Ivory to play it, despite it being owned by her late mother. Speaking of the piano, the first song ever played on it was Mountain Ash, and later in the episode, when Missy's body was found, a few things I noticed is how alert and pragmatic Ash and Clown were attempting to control and calm the situation, as V and Pyroscythe can be heard gagging and throwing up at the sight of the body. Along with that, when Clown tells Ash to get Mr. Hemlock, you can actually see Zombie in the background as it pans around. Before the murder, when Clown and Ivory were sorting the mail, Ivory got mail from the Honors Emberton Libertarian Party, which the first letter of each word, when put together, spells out help. And for the final fact of Whitepine 1, the title screen and the subtitles at the end of each episode. The subtitles are only done in one other episode, in Whitepine 6, and the title card can be seen at the start of Whitepine 2, but is discontinued afterward. Moving on to Whitepine 2, when Ross was talking to Ivory about Usherwood outside the estate, it was known for having a lot of stories of people going missing there.
Yeah, a lot of people have went missing in there, so make sure you don't accidentally wander in there, you know?
Later, when Izzy was talking to Pyro and he pushed her away to leave, it was similar to when Pyro pushed Ivory away so he can go to cry in Whitepine 9, a trend that he continues throughout the show. Something I personally need help with figuring out is what is Div humming in the woods. It almost sounds familiar, but despite what many people are saying that it's an original song, they're not giving a lot of proof that it is. Another thing about the show that I love is the character progression. In episodes such as Whitepine 2, Ivory's voice is more shaky and shy when talking to people, but in later episodes such as 9, 8, and 7, it becomes a lot more fluid and comfortable. And there are going to be a lot of detective sightings from this point on, but you can actually see him hiding in the back when Ivory goes to get the shovel for Ross. One thing that I love and did way too much research about was the actual Eastern Whitepine Tree, a tree known as the Tree of Peace, and there's an entire document that I'll leave in the description if anyone is interested. And finally, a fact that I've seen a lot in the comments but don't really know too much about is that there's a character named Violet Evergarden in the background of this scene. And if anyone knows more about her, please let me know in the comments. And here normally I do a transition for Whitepine 3, but I couldn't really find anything too deep or non-obvious to a regular watcher other than this cool little time skip where the clock and shadows move at the same time, showing great attention to detail. But we'll move on to Whitepine 4. Something I found kind of funny in Whitepine 4 was due to V's entire character, Redstone is actually canon in Whitepine, which actually makes me laugh because of the different things that can be made with Redstone. And with V gets Ivory to agree to go out in the mansion to get some stuff, V gets giddy and does a little dance. Last detail that struck me as interesting is that when V was talking about Bit Otter, a maid that he had clean up after himself after they got annoyed with them, one thing that made me interested in it was that V referred to Bit as they, as Bit is non-binary and they never told anyone, but V was the only one to call Bit they. Everyone else refers to Bit as she.
Nah, I had Bit Otter as mine, but they didn't really want to deal with me.
During the lineup, when Zolister comes to visit and Zombie comes down to tell all the maids and butlers to get in the line, everyone shuffles into their line place except for Ivory, who was already there. Another funny thing about this scene is that when everyone bows to greet Zolister, Ivory first looks at how everyone bows before bowing herself, ensuring that she's doing it right. And a few facts I want to get off my chest before rapid fire detective showing is the scene has a little opener towards the art room. That could be foreshadowing for where the detective will be, and another funny fact is that the comments when Sir Raptor brought Ivory her food for the day, many people just thought he had a gun. But here, and here, you can see the detective in the background stalking Ivory, and in one of the sightings, Moo sends Ivory to the art room coincidentally. A little gruesome for the first fact of Whitepine 5, but when the mortician speaks to Pyroscythe about the body and Mr. Cat's limbs being missing and needed to be replaced, you can see that her arm is off her body and that her legs are mangled in Whitepine 1. When Ivory goes up to look for Sir Raptor's pen, she instinctively avoids the art room because of the detective. And a really nice detail that I noticed is that when Maddie compliments Ash's suit, and the reason I like this a lot is because of how reserved Ash is to share his true feelings as he had drowned in dread, and Div making stupid jokes to make light of this dark situation, making it awkward, fitting back with his spiraling fears that he had when he was talking to Ivory in Whitepine 9.
He's probably very grateful for that.
Yeah, if there's an afterlife.
Bro, come on, dude.
I'm sure she'd be very happy that we all came together for her today. And that we get a rest day.
Despite calling herself Ivory and going by the name for the whole series, Zolister is the only person to know her name is Ivory and yet call her Ivy.
Are you the religious type, Ivy?
And the verse that the Pope spoke in the service was chosen by Zombie, and is an actual real verse that the priest gets mostly through, but misses if they continue in faith, love, holiness, with propriety. Along with that, and everything else in the church, you can actually see what is most likely Mr. Cat's family on the left of where everyone in the Whitepine estate is, which is on the right. And the pin that Seraptor wears is the same one that Pyrocythe wears. Whitepine 6 is the shortest episode so far, and something that I found really interesting is that you can see a small clip of Vi working on the pipe bomb for the end of the episode as it cuts through different scenes. In another cut, you can also see a bunch of doors, and one door that stuck out to me is assumingly Vi's room because of the tripwire hooks and the dirtiness in the sides. As Ivory is playing Mulberry before being taken away, it is one of the few rare times that Whitepine plays a song all the way through and not cutting it just randomly. And speaking of the second interrogation, when Ivory comes out with all the other maids, Borm's eyes are stuck on Ivory when they get to the station, and the sheriff is no longer there to mediate, and he seems very reserved in the background. And finally, during the flurry of cuts through every clip, there shows a photo of a Minecraft skin, assumingly a forgotten character from the show, as a painting, as most other paintings from the show are from vanilla Minecraft. Through dialogue, we know that Moo was the first person to discover Misty's body.
You know, you found Misty.
And also the detective can be seen watching Ivory when Ivory and Seraptor go to watch Bit at the play. Another little fact is that when Ivory is getting into Clown's car and she jumps and misses the jump inside and then jumps again. It's a cute little detail that was probably just a blooper. The atmospheric sounds heard when Ivory is walking through the estate and people are looking at her are the same ones played when Ivory was interrogated for the second time.
Any knife or axe into Whitepine.
No,
Any sharp object.
only my teeth, sir.
And the subtitles shown when Ivory says, "I'm not sure what you mean," the subtitles say, "Can you stop playing dumb?" A possible caption mistake. In the scene, you can see the detective putting on gloves before assaulting Ivory, and one thing I've been wanting to know for a while is what is that song used after the detective punched Ivory? I've searched for it for a while with little leads, and if you have any idea, please leave a comment and let me know. And normally I do a transition for 8, but it only really has 2 facts, and I'm not really going to go over too much detail, because mainly it's just Seraptor's eyes bubbling up when he wakes up, and another caption error where Vi says "I'm not overwhelming her" being said under Ivory's name. And sort of the same for Whitepine 9, as really the only things you can see is that you see the bad sides of Emberton when Ivory and Pyro go on their stroll, and when returning from vacation, Kanjay can be seen going downstairs suspiciously before the boiler is found broken, making him a suspect. And when Div is humming, you can actually hear him humming Bird Brain by Jamie Page. And when Ivory leaves abruptly, Div kind of looks back at the camera, breaking the fourth wall, which is kind of funny. And overall, that's kind of it. I just kind of wanted to go through some interesting facts of the show that I found from rewatching it, and it was really, really fun. One more fact that's kind of weird, though, is that if you go through her community tab, you can actually see some weird numbers and letters the more you brighten and darken some images. And for a lot of people who might not know this, but there's actually a Whitepine ARG. There's something in the description to help you get started for now, but really, I'm not planning on getting into it too much in this video, because it took a long time for me to post this one, and I don't want to take even longer to make a side story about an entire ARG that I'm not even sure about, that I just found out about. Thank you so much for watching. This video was really, really fun to make, and also thank you so much for all the support on the I Am Your Beast video. I really appreciate all the comments, likes, and love that you guys give for everything that I make. I always want everybody to keep creating, and thank you so much for watching. If you really enjoyed this, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you sometime.